Now, some political parties in Parliament want Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana to commit to economic growth when he delivers his budget speech on Wednesday. They want the budget to mark a turning point for the economy and also focus on debt containment and against increases in taxes. Let's discuss this further now, as of course we're looking ahead at the budget speech. We now speak to SABC News reporter Naledi Ngcobo. Naledi, good afternoon to you and thank you so much for your time. So, we always say this, every time the Minister of Finance is going to deliver his budget speech, we say it's a tough balancing act. He's going to have to strike a balance. But this time around, what does he need to balance?
Well, good afternoon, Bongi. Thank you so much for having me. And of course, we're expecting the Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana to deliver his midterm budget in a few days, actually on Wednesday. And when we talk about a fine balancing act, I think it's mostly, referring to the fact that the government needs to keep a tight lid on spending, because that's what we're seeing has been the major issue for historically. We've known that, expenditure continues to outpace what we're able to collect in terms of revenue. And so this disproportion has created some, issues in terms of we're seeing our budget deficit growing, meaning that that space between what we are collecting and what we're spending on continues to grow, which then, means that we continue to increase on our debt. We go in the market and we try to borrow a little bit more so that we are able to take care of some of those spending priorities, which we do understand that there is a risk that they may continue to put a pressure on government finances. We're expecting that, having spoken to some of the economists that I've been speaking to over the past couple of days, we do understand that, there is an issue of the concern that there would be increased spending on SOEs. We do understand that Eskom still does have some of those bailouts that it's looking forward to from the National Treasury. We also understand that it's the same for Transnet as well. Those logistics challenges continue to pose a major risk on the economy. And so those are some of the spending priorities that we're thinking may pose or may be seen to be a risk. Another thing that has come up from the various analysts that I've spoken to is the issue of social grants. I think it was last month that we saw that there was a decision by the court, the Pretoria High Court, that some of the requirements for the application for the social distress grants are onerous. So basically, the court deciding that, Treasury and government as a whole has made it more difficult for people who are less fortunate or who need those funds from the SRD. It makes it impossible for them to actually apply for that kind of money. So these are the risks that we're looking at.
Naledi, that's quite interesting, and especially when one thinks about the fact that in the past the minister would have said tough love for SOEs, and a lot of us now wanting to see what's going to happen. But when you look at the Treasury's growth expectations, what are they saying?
Well, when you look at what was said in the midterm budget that took place in November, Treasury anticipated that growth would be at around 1.8%. This is for the 2025 financial year. And it expected that last year, which was 2024, growth would have been at around 1.1%. We're still waiting for those figures, of course, to come out. But that's the expectation. And this 1.8 expectation has been, quite the rhetoric even amongst our analysts that we've been interviewing. A lot of them saying that they do expect that growth would be at around 1.8%. But of course, this is not enough growth that is supposed to be the kind of growth that creates jobs. Government had said, and I think the president during his SONA address had said that, they're looking forward to pushing for that 3% growth. But, given some of the structural issues that continue to persist and plague our economy, it's been difficult to get to that point where we are seeing that kind of growth of around 2 to 3%. But that's actually what we need in terms of economic growth, in terms of creating the necessary jobs in the economy.
And there's also expectations of a revenue shortfall, but one would have expected that the withdrawals from the two-pot retirement system would have kind of changed that picture.
Right. You know, even when we were speaking to the SARS commissioner during the midterm budget, he had said that, you know, what they'd expected in terms of the collections from the two-pot system is not really meeting up to par to, you know, closing that revenue gap that they were hoping they'd be able to close. So, you know, we've heard that there has been a withdrawal of around 43 billion rand in terms of the two-pot system, but however, that has not been sufficient to really close that revenue gap, and we're expecting that the revenue shortfall would be around 10 billion rand, and this is what we've heard from the various analysts that we've spoken to. And even last year, we saw another revenue shortfall of around 22 billion rand. So quite a growing trend whereby we're not able to collect what it is that we need. But there is the expectation that you know, there might be some taxes that are imposed on consumers. You know, analysts, we spoke to analysts, I think, from PwC, who said, you know, they don't expect that we're going to have big tax items going up, especially like your personal income tax and corporate income tax, as well as the value-added tax. Those are, you know, it's not really expected that there would be a significant bump in that, but there is an expectation that maybe the fuel levy might be increased, and you know, to make up for that tax revenue shortfall that we're anticipating.